that opportunity when we're finished up, and just once Dirk's finished, just head straight over to JP's and the group will join you. There is a non-provided open bar for people who choose to partake in those things. And we will be providing the food and soft drinks and things of that nature. So without going too far into this thing and taking too much time, I will turn it over to Chippo, and he's going to talk a little bit about what the club's been up to and what we have coming up, and he'll be introducing our speaker.
Okay. All right, good evening, everybody. Nice to see you here. I'm just going to run through a few of the Economic Club events we've had in the past, and then a few of the things that are going to be coming in the future. And then I'll go ahead and introduce Dirk. So we had a sporting KC trip. We went and watched the match over there in KC, and that was hosted by Brandon Blagg. We had Emily over here do the student price index, and that had a 3.8% inflation increase. For the upcoming events, we have a radio show with Coach Tang we're planning to go to. If any of you want to go for that, just put your names down the listserv and we'll make sure to keep you updated. We do have Erica York coming from the Senior Economist Tax Foundation on Monday, March the 4th. And then we have Anne-Marie Willis, who is the CEO and founder of Leverage Labs. And that's going to be either on the 3rd or the 4th of April. Okay, so April 2nd. And then we're going to have someone from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics coming late in April. Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and introduce Dirk. I have a bit of a write-up on my phone here. So Dirk is a professor of instruction at the University of Texas at Austin. He is the author of Economics in the Movies, Essentials of Economics, and Principles of Economics. Dirk has been featured in the Great Teachers of Economics series, and he was also the inaugural winner of the Economic Communicator Contest. While at Penn State, he received the George W. Atherton Award, which is the highest teaching award possible, and was voted to be the best overall teacher at Smeal College of Business. While at the University of Arizona, he received the Best Large Class Lecture Award in the Ella College of Management and the University of Koffler's Teaching Prize, which happens to be a quadrennial award for his contribution in the economics education. He received the Kenneth L. Zinga's Distinguished Teaching Award and the award from the Southern Economic Associate in 2021. Along with Dr. Keister and Chris Yuderen, he is the co-author of Economics of the Office website. I'm sure a lot of you who take Keister's class have seen that, and many of the clips that feature on there, which come from the Office show. So without further ado, I would like to ask Dirk to come up.
Oh, yeah. There it is right there.
There we go. Put it on the website.
Hey, thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate all of you. I know, like Dan has already said, your time is valuable. I'm here to hopefully help you utilize that time more effectively by inspiring you during the next hour to think about things in a way you haven't thought about them before, so that as you go forward over the rest of your life, because you only have 2 billion seconds, that you maximize the use of those 2 billion seconds most effectively. So the title of the presentation, which Dan is whipping up here on the screen, has been tailor-made for this audience here. I'm actually doing a lot of research currently on Taylor Swift, Mr. Beast, and all kinds of Gen Z influencers. And this is a thread of research that actually is pulled from the work I did with Dan and Chris Yoderen. And that research was on The Office, the TV show. And it's a classic, right? But what's classic to maybe you or me, or something you've heard about and you think is relevant, right, because it has some cultural touchstone in it, isn't necessarily relevant to the students who are taking classes today. And so what many of us in the pop culture field of economic education discovered was we had mined almost every cultural reference going way back in time, starting with shows like Seinfeld, and moving all the way up to The Office or Breaking Bad and other places, right? And so you'd have to constantly like find a show that people were watching, and then you'd have to sort of compile what was interesting about it. Then you'd put it on a website, and it was all really good. But the problem was, well, what's relevant now? What can I tell you today that's relevant and interesting? And so as an instructor, I find that I've been constantly reinventing the way I teach every single semester. And I have one enormous advantage. I've taught 50,000 students. And my 50,000 students know that when they come into my class, they can see that there's music playing before class, the examples are up to date, and they help me stay relevant. Otherwise, as a 59-year-old, I would be irrelevant, all right? So I just play music from the 80s, all right? So that's not relevant, right? But if I can play music that people are going to say, wow, that's interesting. Is there some economics in there? Then they're going to listen to it. So that's where I'm trying to go with this. And I just want to start here with the idea that I'll talk first about Taylor Swift, then we'll head into Mr. Beast, and then we'll get to female influencers. So that's what you have to look forward to. But let's talk about Taylor Swift, because I mean, that's it, right? I mean, Taylor Swift is literally everywhere. And so well, let's talk about her economic impact on the NFL. And one of the things that I want to do here is break this down here between the way Taylor Swift is affecting things now and the way the NFL hopes that she affects the future at the same time. So one of the things that you would think about almost immediately is you'd say, well, there's certain things that the NFL's benefited from by associating with Taylor Swift. All right, so there's jerseys, right? So jersey sales are way up. Now, what else is way up? Yell something out. Yes. Viewership. Viewership is up. Okay, so viewership, that's great. Jerseys, anything else? The NFL directly benefits from because Taylor Swift has been showing up and having a great time watching Travis Kelce. Yes. Yeah, that's true. The entire event is more culturally relevant, so they're getting more stories written about what's going on. And that helps to lead to more viewership, right? So just thinking about the mechanics of this, the metrics of this, the NFL is all on board with Taylor Swift. And if you've watched any of the games, there's a hardcore group of people who are like, no, I tuned in to see the Chiefs play. That's what I wanted to see. That hardcore audience is going to watch the game anyway. The question is, how do you grow your business enterprise? And Taylor Swift is perfect. Look at that Venn diagram right there. So there's Travis Kelce, right? Professional football player. There's people that are diehard fans. They play fantasy football. They're going to watch every game. They're going to read about it. They're going to digest it. They're going to go online to learn more about it. They're going to bet on it, right? All that's going to happen, right? That's happening, right? NFL has cultivated that. And all along comes Taylor Swift, right? Well, it turns out, right, that you've got super fans of Taylor Swift and you've got fans of professional football. And what the NFL wants to do is grow that middle part of that Venn diagram right there, woo, right? That's where the opportunity is right there. That's where the money is. And that's why when you think of the NFL and you think about the relationship they have with other media partners, they're thinking big picture, all right? They're thinking about how to grow this enterprise rather than keep it constant. So there's your Kelce jersey, right? So Fanatics went out and bought a whole bunch of Travis Kelce jerseys as soon as they found out, all right? He's the one, all right, great. We're gonna look good in Kansas City Chiefs uniforms. It gotta be an 87 though. It cannot be anything other than an 87, right? That's the one. So real differences there, right? And then of course, there's this whole Super Bowl thing that's coming up, right? This is craziness, right? Now, this is not a case of where the NFL has a whole lot of opportunity to grow right now because that Super Bowl stadium already sold out, right? All those flights are gonna get sold out, right? But how about viewership in the game, right? That's an opportunity to leverage that with future advertisers, right? And of course, we know that those commercials that play on the Super Bowl have an enormous price tag, right? So they can ask a little bit more in subsequent years if their numbers are better this year, right? So the NFL is thinking about this, they're thinking about this, and they want to win. And so how do we quantify that? Well, the current estimate is up till now, and this doesn't even count the Super Bowl, is that Taylor Swift has been worth $332 million so far to the NFL. That's already how much of an impact she's had, right? Just all their existing stuff, more of it, just more, all right? So, but that's not the story, all right? There's more to the story because it turns out the NFL wants to reach little kids. They want to build the next generation of NFL fans. NFL fans who come for the experience and don't come for the football. The football is going to be secondary. I hate to say that, all right, as a fan of football. The football is just, yeah, they play, yeah, somebody wins, yeah, we cheer, it's all good. But what we want is for people to tune in to see what is culturally relevant and happening, all right? So that's a great point that was made earlier. And if you can somehow get, right, little girls to watch a whole bunch of football, right, and then figure out how to keep them coming back, right, that is a different margin under which decisions are made. And so when I always think of it, I never even knew this, it didn't occur to me. What does it mean when you say ESPN? What does that stand for? Anybody know? What's the E? Entertainment and sports network. And the E is first. The NFL wants the E first. They don't really care about football. A purist might say, well, you know, football's always been played a certain way. The NFL wants the game to be as exciting and dramatic as possible. And so they would rewrite all of the rules of the NFL to keep it more interesting and more engaging and more faster paced, all right? So they're thinking on that margin. And so when you and I think on whatever margin we're locked into, when we first discovered football and we liked it, we're thinking in the past. And the NFL's thinking in the future. That's amazing to me, that that's what's going on, right? So that's cool. So think of that. That's one thing I wanted to say because that's relevant right here, right now. Next, I'm writing a paper with a bunch of colleagues. And the idea is we take lessons from Taylor Swift and Mr. Beast, and we write them up in such a way that if you were a college teacher, you could literally take the lesson that we write for you, and then you could import it into your classroom, and you could teach that lesson. So we're trying to make sure that college instructors have a chance to do this. Now, this is a classic Taylor Swift song. How many of you are familiar with this song? Look at that, that is so awesome. This is Taylor Swift's, I'm gonna call it her country era. All right, so Taylor Swift, country era, good stuff, right? I love this song. And in fact, I was a Swiftie fan then, and I'm actually sort of slightly less of a Swiftie fan now, just so you know, just on the record, okay? Don't hate me for that, okay? But the idea is that there's something interesting in this song that has a lot to do with economics. And I'm telling you what it is. I'm saying it's preference reversals and the Allais paradox. Now, Maurice Allais is one of our Nobel laureates in economics. He wins this for this very interesting idea that people's perceptions of their risk preferences, the classical way economists define these, were such that they were stagnant. Like you're risk averse. You don't take any chances, right? You try to protect yourself from harm. You might be that way. Or you're a risk taker. You love to gamble, right? Or maybe you're just risk indifferent. But you're something, right? On the spectrum, you're something, right? And so people were that way. And what he discovered was if you designed the right experiment, that he could show that people aren't necessarily going to behave that way. So what I want to do here is let you first ingest the song, all right? So the song is mine. I'm going to click the link over here. And we should turn the lights down. Dan, can we pull that off? Oh, Dan's giving me the no, Dirk. No, we can't do that. We're going to, I don't know the room, but we're going to try. All right. And so here's the song. Now, what I'm interested in is, do you see the preference reversal in terms of how one acts or thinks? Okay. Oh, that's brilliant, Dan. The browser is up to date. What does it mean? All right, so that's so not right here. I don't want to browse. I want to go right there. There it is. Okay. Let's try it again. No, that's not it. And why can't I watch this right here? That is so sad. Somebody else have a... Dan is going to try for me. It would come up on my laptop. We could switch over, but that might not be authorized here. So let's just search for Mine by Taylor Swift. Dan's going to bring it up here shortly. That should work, right? That would seem like it should work. Or maybe we're just locked out here. Oh, wait, we weren't signed in. That's right. I hope we can play it without signing in. This is like a technology fail. It's, oh, we got Dan Keister at netzero.com. All right, they're very excited. Yeah, what is that? It's all good. So when this song does miraculously show up, it's going to even be better because you will now waited for it a little while longer. You'll be like, the anticipation is building. What is this song from way back in 2011, where Taylor Swift won the Country Music Video of the Year award, all right, for the song. There it is. Turn it up, Dan. Okay. That's it, right there. We'll keep going though, Dan. We can't stop right there. People sing along. Now you see it, right? What was the tagline? Say it to me. Yes. You made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. She was careful, right? In relationships, she's careful. That means she's risk averse, right? And a rebel is somebody who takes what? Risk. There you go. All right. So that's our preference reversal idea that we want in our head, right? And so now what we want to do after that is sort of just think about this in the context of Taylor Swift's life. All right, so those, I didn't put their faces on there, but if you go all the way across the screen, that in white over there, that is Travis Kelce over there on the end. All right, so we got this long history of Taylor Swift meeting up with what seemed to be pretty eligible gentlemen. All right, I mean, some of the most famous people in the world, right? Like pretty good catches, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And now we're at the moment of truth, right? With Travis Kelce here, right? Is he going to be the one who takes our careful Taylor Swift and causes her to say, okay, all right? So that's cool, all right, to think about that. That's what we're trying to get at here. Those are some of the boyfriends. Now, it's time for all of you to go to Kahoot.it, or if you rather, just get the Kahoot app out and play on the app, all right? Everybody, come on in. Look at this prize. It's worth your time, $10 cash prize, just for answering a few questions here to help me out in this process, okay? So Kahoot.it or the Kahoot app, and let's see if we can find this over here. And I want to get in here to my library, and there it is right there. That's super exciting. Thank you, Dan, for working that out. And let's start this in classic mode. And these are a bunch of questions to lead us from preference reversals to the entire LA paradox. That's where we're going, okay? We're going to scaffold it. And I'm waiting for you. I'm just waiting. Look at that. Y'all are great. You got it covered. So to prove the LA paradox, I got to make sure you know some stuff, all right? So there's some skill involved in getting this far. We have some professional economists in the room. I'm telling you, if their names are up there and they're not finishing, I mean, like near the top, you know, you can sort of just give them a little nudge from me, like, hey, what went wrong here, my friends, all right? Or maybe they're just not adept at technology. But here we go. We got 36 people. We're ready to start. Boom, we're in. You got to know about expected values to be able to tell me if you have risk averse or risk taker or not. We need some music here. Let me get that on. I tried to help you out here. You weren't ready for it. But what happened, my friends? All right. So you roll a die, all right, and you win $30 if the 6 comes up. Well, that's going to be like 1 out of 6. So you get $5 on average as your expected value right there. You flip a coin and earn 8 if it's heads. Obviously, you don't get anything if it's tails. So that's $4 over there. And then there's behind one of 3 doors, there's $16. So that's 16 divided by 3. That's 5.33. That is our right answer. Selected by exactly 6 of you. So we got to do better than that. That's why we had to start with this. We had to start here, because if you don't know how to calculate expected values, I can't expect you to be able to understand the LA paradox. But that's okay. We have somebody in the lead. MZ, well played. All right, so you're in line for the $10 right now. Good stuff. I know some of you faculty are going to quibble with me here, but I'm already ready with the answer. Don't worry. Oh, that's so much better. All right. The expected value is higher for the blue one. It's lower for the red one. But the red one is the one that if you have your preferences strong enough, you would choose the sure thing. All right. So that's what we're going to take there. You guys know that? That's awesome. We can do this. Okay. So next up here, it's still MZ. MZ is crushing it. Oh, well, we have an expected value there for the $20 sure thing. It's $20, right? Then over there, we have $25 half the time, 10 otherwise. That's 35 divided by 2. That's $17.5 right there. Right, and then we got $30 2/3 of the time. That's $20 right there. Plus another $2 1/3 of the time. You're over 20 right there. What happened right there, my friends? We did so well in the previous question. Now it's back to like, no. Okay. But not for MZ. MZ is like all over it. I don't know who MZ is, but MZ is amazing. Okay, so which one would a risk taker choose? That's so good. See how much progress we've made? And I've hardly even taught you anything. You've been teaching yourself the whole time. This is brilliant. All right, let's see if MZ is still brilliant right here. Oh yeah, MZ is totally on. Okay, so it's just competition to finish second because MZ is like running away with this. Okay, next up. Oh. Didn't expect that, did you? Okay, all good, all right? People have preferences, right? Are those preferences going to be stable or not? That's the question I'm interested in, right? How stable are those preferences? So let's see. MZ, of course, has stable preferences, just all the rest of you. We'll see. Everybody got that one right, though. It was all good. Now, interesting. What could cause you to change parties? Maybe you have weak preferences, maybe you have strong preferences. Just say what you say. Oh, so some of you are open to changing political parties. Very interesting. All right. So, and of course, over history, political parties do evolve and adapt and they do change. And of course, if they move towards your preferences or away, you would be expected to change. All right. So again, we can see people change. Now, the question is, at this point, with all of this in mind, what would you do here? Very smart on the we can't be sure. See, we don't know. We're not Taylor Swift. We don't know whether she's the one that was changing her pattern of behavior or whether or not she was just getting better information about these boyfriends and they just were not a good match. And so that particular case, right, it's an information problem, which we solve in economics all the time. Okay, so we could say we're not sure. And we're up to number 8. Which of these would be considered a preference reversal? You saved for college. You've been saving for college, right? That was your goal. That was your objective. And all of a sudden, senior trip? Whoa, senior trip. I'm going to do that, right? That's somebody who's going to be carefree with money as opposed to somebody that's saving up their money. In other words, when you're saving your money, what you have is a long time perspective, right? The senior trip is a short time perspective. So we got that. Now, I think, based on what you've told me, that you all can do expected values. You understand what a preference reversal is, and we are ready for the LA paradox, okay? I know MZ is ready. You have 90 seconds to really think about this. given you all time so you could work out the expected values. We're almost there. They're all right. That's not a problem. Maurice Allais was just collecting what? Survey data, right? So these are people's opinions, all right? There's no right or wrong opinion here. There's just what people do. Economists study, social scientists study the actions of people. We want to observe their behavior. We want to figure out what they're doing. And what we had up till Maurice Allais came along was we had people had what? Stable preferences for risk. So let's think about this way. If you were risk averse, let's go back and think about this. Let me see if I can show this media here, make it bigger. There it is. If you were just looking at choice one, A is 100% of the time you win $1,000. That's a sure thing. That's like somebody just gonna hand $1,000 to put in your pocket, right? Then you have the choice of option B. Now, option B looks pretty good, I have to admit, right? Because 89% of the time you get the same thing, right? And then 10% of the time you get this $5,000. That is sweet. But 1% of the time you get nothing. So the person that chooses A is choosing a gamble with a lower expected value. And if you choose A, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just telling me you're risk averse and you don't want to be that one person out of 100 who played this one-off game in their life. And the other at the time when I was younger and I had a chance to do this gamble, yeah, and sure enough, I lost on that gamble, right? They don't want to be that person, all right? Now, if you chose the second gamble, I don't know why you chose it. I don't know whether you're a risk taker or just somebody who is risk neutral, because that's the best expected value, all right? But again, we know the difference between A and B. Now look at choice two, all right? In choice two, again, if you want to try to maximize your chance of getting something, you're risk averse, you're going to choose A, right? But if you want the best expected value, you choose B. Okay, so somebody that chooses A and A is internally consistent. Somebody chooses B and B is internally consistent. But what did Maurice Allais find? And this is why he wins the Nobel Prize, which is really cool. Let me get that off the screen. All right, so look at that. A bunch of you choose A and B, and that's like exactly his result. Like 1/3 to 40% of the people go, I like A. Let me put it back up there again, since I make sure you all understand what A and B means. So here it is again. That's A and B. All right, I'm risk averse, but now I'm just totally fine with this one here. I don't care. It's like, you know, that difference of 1% doesn't matter to me over here. And then the brilliant thing he does is when you calculate these expected values, I'm going to give you the numbers. So 100% of 1,000, right? 89% of 1,000, which is choice one, option B, that's $890 on average. That's your expected value. Plus 10% of 5,000, that's another 500. That is 1,390. It's $390 more, right? Everybody see that? Okay, but look, he's brilliant because he keeps the financial difference the same in the second choice. 11% chance of 1,000 is 110, right? And then a 10% chance of 5,000 is 500. 500 minus 110 is a difference of 390. He's trying to control for the difference in income, but it doesn't matter because people view that difference in income differently. He was able to show by repeatedly doing this experiment that income does matter. It matters a lot in your risk preference. And that when you have a lot to lose, like a sure $1,000, you might buy the insurance. It's perfectly rational to choose A under choice one and lock it in. You pay a price for that, but you lock it in. What happens to all of us when we have cars and houses and other things, or life insurance, right? Or protect our retirement accounts? We lock it in, right? That's normal, right? And what happens when we have almost nothing to lose? I have a terrible chance of winning under choice two, option A, terrible chance. And I have a slightly better chance of winning option B. But I'm not expecting to get choice 2A, I'm expecting to lose. So as long as I'm playing a gamble with a high risk, I might as well go for the bigger risk, right? And so that's what he proves. And people go, oh, we never thought about it that way before, right? And you can use mine as a way of teaching that example. Any questions about that, everyone? I got to give somebody $10 here. I'm not like going slow here. I got to make sure, woo. There it is right in there. All right, $10, and our winner here. It's very exciting. Maybe we already know the winner. Let's see. 7 out of 9 for Marcus. Well played, Marcus. 7 out of 9 for Jacob. Well played. But 8 out of 9. 8 out of 9. MZ. Let's give MZ a hand. Where are you, MZ? Oh, no. Jacob gets bailed out there. Keister goes with MZ. All right. Well, but that's good. That is comforting you, my friend. Right? Pulled this off. Okay. Well played there. He didn't even sandbag himself at the end. He just went all out for it. Okay. Good stuff there. So back into where we were. That's the lesson there about Taylor Swift. And we just did the Kahoot. So now I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to bring you over here and we're just going to think about Mr. Beast. All right. So any Mr. Beast fans here? Well, like not as many. Taylor Swift is killing Mr. Beast, but Mr. Beast is like killing the whole YouTube thing. All right. So how many of you have seen a Mr. Beast video? That's a much better number. Okay. So if you haven't seen him, he specializes in these challenges where he has very large cash prizes and extraordinarily interesting videos. And the way he pulls this off is he's just learned the art of creating the perfect viral video. He's learned about what images to put on there. He's learned about what entices people to click, and he's figured this all out. And so the lesson of Mr. Beast is that you can become a billionaire, just like Taylor Swift, just by putting content up on YouTube and getting and what amounts to tens of billions of people watching your videos. All right. So, and he does this again by just sort of captivating people's desire to watch something that is an unusual representation of a daily activity, but pulled to the extreme, pulled to the extreme. That's his shtick. All right. So, and of course, he's now saying, I love this quote, right? He's become numb to like $1,000 doesn't mean much to me anymore because I put like $2 million into my videos. So $1,000 seems like it's nothing. That's what happens when you become a billionaire. That's not the thrust of the talk right here though. So let me get you into this. Basically, I've got a video for you to watch. And I've broken it into 3 chunks. This is consistent with the way the current economics education literature is that instead of showing you a long video, I show you a short video, then we break it down. And I'll show you another part of the video, I break it down, right? So just scaffolding everything that you've seen. So in the first part of this video, we're gonna talk about, this is posted on Critical Commons, you're gonna see the background of the team that Mr. Beast assembled. They are not, I mean, you just looked at that, you would say, this is not gonna end well, all right? But it ends great because it's Mr. Beast, right? And then I'm gonna ask you a question later about teamwork, but how do you build a team and how does that work? That's the really interesting part about this here, so. And with some luck, we'll get this up here. Here it is. This is exciting. It's working right away.
This is when I was like 19. I was like,
Okay, so comparative advantage and specialization. They didn't know how to do what they want to do, right? But rather than going solo where you have to do what? Everything yourself, and you don't have a comparative advantage, you find the people that are good at what? Good at one aspect of this process, you pull a team together. That is so cool. That is so cool that a guy who's a billionaire understood how to pull a team together from people that you might have maybe argued beforehand weren't the most qualified team. Doesn't matter, right? He's found the good in every person, but what's the one thing they all had in common? How much were they working? A lot. And they were passionate about it, all right? They just wanted to get better about it, right? So that's the first thing you could say right there, is team building is better than you and I trying to come up with this great idea and pull it all off ourselves. I've had great ideas, and I've almost always, and this is just me, I bump up against the, oh, I can't do that because I don't know the technology, or I'm not in the right place at the right time. I don't know that person who's in that field, right? He found people. They figured it out. All right. That's entrepreneurship, right? But that's also understanding that he could not do all of this himself, and he had a team to work with to figure that out. Okay, so we're gonna go back over here, and I'll just give you the next slide here, and we'll see that. And here this is. Now, it's one thing if you know how to create a perfect YouTube video. It's another thing to try to figure out what people want. And there's all of us who do things that we like, we're passionate about, but maybe the market for that is small, right? He wanted to find the biggest possible market, the biggest possible number of users using YouTube, which is mostly Gen Z. So he had to figure this out, all right? So he's gonna tell you how he figured it out, right? He's just giving away the secret, which is like ridiculous, but it's okay. It's Mr. Beast, he's that way.
You frequently go that far out of your way to have something like invested on funds. Like you need something like
Okay, so he's laying it out, right? But he's laying out, he's trying to find what motivates people, right? That is essential. Now, I think that if you were starting your own business, you would obviously want to do that, but he's doing it at the next level, all right? And sort of thinking strategically through this. I made a mistake, no problem. I learned something right there, right? You know, so just incrementally get that done. That's the point. And now let's just think about the last part of this video here. And so here we go. I'm not used to this one here. Oh, it's over here. Here we go. All right. And now, what he is known for and what confounds people is he reinvests in the product. And so he makes some money off of a video that gets 300 million views, like millions off of YouTube. And then he just plows it back in. He's going to tell you all about this because there's a lot of people that say, well, you know, I got to take mine out. I got to live for, you know, something. He's living for the future, right? He's figured out how to reinvest and make this grow, this enterprise grow. So let me find that there, or maybe it's over here. Here it is. And enjoy this one.
The last like 8 or 9 years, like steps it so far.
There you go. All right. So that's like 6.5 minutes worth of wisdom. But if you just took that wisdom and applied it to one particular thing, comparative advantage and specialization, you're going to specialize. He's specialized, right? You figure that out. That's actually why you're here. You are here to figure that out. Your journey here at K-State is to figure that out. You may not figure it out even when you've left. You may take 5 more years or 10 more years to figure that out. But that's your calling, that's your passion, and you need to monetize that some way so you can live a decent life, right? So that's the point there with Mr. Beast. I didn't show you a Mr. Beast video because I just wanted you to see this relentless passion for what he does, and that he started with nothing, he started with no followers, and now he's the biggest YouTuber on the planet. Incredible in my mind. So let's get back in there and let's talk about our influencer here, which is Olivia Dunn. And so how many of you pay attention to name, image, and likeness? Who knows something about that? Who is like totally not into name, image, and likeness? Have no idea what it is? A few people. Okay. So the NCAA radically redesigned the way it would allow scholarship athletes to be able to use their name, image, and likeness, but to actually go out and receive amounts of money to promote various brands. So that's how that existed, and it didn't exist 3 years ago. It's just basically been here for 3 years. And it's created a very interesting, chaotic world when it comes to collegiate sports and people transferring for better deals. And so this is the top name, image, and likeness maker, and her name is Olivia Dunn. She has worked on the U.S. women's gymnastics team, and she's a gymnast at LSU. And her name, image, and likeness is roughly $3.5 million. And now that's not quite as high as a few of the collegiate football players, but she's certainly the highest female athlete in name, image, and likeness. And she's also the collegiate athlete who has the greatest number of followers, 15 million followers. And she has figured out a way to take her incredible skill set as a gymnast and to, because of good luck and timing, right, with name, image, and likeness, be able to actually utilize this on a number of different margins, which are super interesting. So let's just think about her for a bit. And what I want to do is introduce you to her, I'm going to just call it, it's her fund. It's the Livy Fund. And what she thought was important to do with her brand was to try to help others in similar circumstances who were females to be able to connect and make more nil money. So she set up this fund to be able to enhance the lives of other females who are also in other sports that may not be as well compensated as men's basketball, or men's football, or female volleyball, but gymnastics is certainly one of the top 5 of those. And so she's been thinking about this for a long time, and I got a video I wanted you to see. It was an interview with Forbes, and this is her just talking about what it's like to be in the name, image, and likeness business. All right, so here it is.
My life has been changed ever since that night.
There you go, right there with Olivia Dunn. And that's part of a project that I've been working on to try to introduce a lot of these influencers into the economics classroom to explain their backstories, to also explain why it is they're innovating and how they're thinking about the connections between that and what you learn with economics. So here you go, guys. Another chance for $10. MZ, obviously you have to worry about MZ, you know, so he says he's going to sit it out, but I know that when push comes to shove, Dan's going to be in there trying to scoop it up. So we'll see. All right, so let's start this right here. How can one connect a short video and the backstory of Livy Dunn to, I need to start this, some basic economics that I expect most of you to know. So let's see. For my faculty friends out there, in case you're wondering, I don't ever let this happen where people put in their own names because some weird stuff happens. I just have them pick nicknames through the program. So there we go. Most of you are in. Good luck, everyone. Livy Dunn, you saw the video. What do you know? Principles of micro right there. Nothing complicated. That's a club good. All right, it's non-rivals. That means that everybody can what? Everybody can enjoy at the same time, but it is excludable. All right, and so the Livy Fund just actually goes out to females who are collegiate athletes. That's the group that gets to get in. If you have to be a guy, too bad. You're not going to get any money from the Livy Fund. So it's excludable but non-rival. And so lots of people can enjoy it. And so we think club good, but sounds much better than that when you just call it the Livy Fund. All right, so let's see what you can do here. Where is MZ? Okay. He's sitting it out, man. He's sitting it out. You know what? All those reasons, right? Because she's got everything going for her. There's a reason why she's the one that has the most nil among all the possibilities there. So she's just the full package right there. And so companies are like, we would love to partner with her. And that's why she's able to rake in the money she rakes in. Meow. Okay. Multi-select. Excellent. So she's building a particular brand, right? When you're somebody that's interested in partnering with somebody, it's nice when you know what that brand is and the areas in which they can help you. If you're teaching, if you think about monopolistic competition, we have to differentiate your product. She says, I am this. And people go, great, we want that, okay? And so that's her, and it wouldn't make sense. I mean, you could argue that she'd be a good spokesperson for healthy fast food, right? You could argue that, right, she could maybe be, on an electric bike, right? And maybe they'd sell more electric bikes, but they're not core to her brand and core to her mission. So y'all saw that. Awesome. Oh, we have a leadership change. P, nice. Everybody was fast on that one. Boom, there it is, makeup. All right, and so that's going to work super well when you have somebody who is attractive and fit. And it's really not much of it. Everyone probably thinks it would be great if I could somehow be like Olivia Dunn. That's I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, so that's why it's going to work. P has still got it. 2 more questions. You're going to have to think about your basic supply and demand here and a little bit of elasticity. It's relatively inelastic. We were split here. The followers of Olivia Dunn are going to have the relatively inelastic demand. If she pitches it and you follow her, you like her, and she says, I like this too, you're going to be much more inclined to buy that product. If you're not a follower, her pitch isn't going to resonate. You don't have elastic demand for what she's pitching. But, and this is a nice way, the thing about doing this is I'm now just giving you a sampling of things that are happening in a microeconomics course, right? So by telling you backstories as you go through the course, I can come back and reinforce these same ideas in different contexts, which I love. And last one here, we'll see if P can hang on. Another micro concept here. Well played. She's a producer, not a consumer, right? And most of you got that. And of course, you just do the math, right? And this is roughly accurate of what she gets paid, by the way. If somebody pays her to do a post, it's roughly $40,000. And she's going to spend the whole day making that post, what, really good, as opposed, like Mr. Beast, right? You know, make it really good, not like super crappy, because you want to reflect the brand. And therefore, she gets a lot of producer surplus. We have a winner. I don't know if it's P or not. Let's find out right here. So. Well played. Look at the 5 out of 6, 5 out of 6. Oh, 6 out of 6. It's brilliant. There it is. Let's give our champion a hand. Brilliant stuff right there. And the only person to get them all correct in any one of the Kahoots. Not even MZ got them all right last time. So just sort of pointing that out. Okay. So thanks for thinking about this. Now, the point of this is, and I hope that this has resonated with you, is that what we're trying to do here is just think about, and this is the part where I'll open it up to questions. Is there a way to take the same material, but by recasting it in something that's of natural interest to you, that you're more receptive to it? That's the big question, right? That's an empirical question. It'll get resolved in the economic education literature over the next 3 to 4 years, right? Does teaching to Gen Z actually move the needle with Gen Z learning? And we'll have to do controlled experiments in a variety of different settings, controlling for instructor inputs and all kinds of other things. And eventually there'll be a paper, I'm going to predict it right now, in 2029 in the Journal of Economic Education, where somebody will say, this worked. I'm going to predict, they're going to say it worked, and we can measure this, right? But I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who says, we should be doing this, so let's do it. And now if they find that it doesn't work, I'll stop, all right? But I'm gonna believe it works until it doesn't work. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Oh, there's no doubt that Taylor Swift is benefiting from being associated with the NFL. If I was a skeptic and didn't believe that this was true, then I would wonder, because I'm sure that she's benefited in terms of her album sales as well by the introduction of other people who might not otherwise see her in this capacity to sort of pick up on her music. That has not been measured, interestingly enough. The ones who measured the $332 million I referenced before was a study where they figured out the change in various sales of NFL products. It's a little more complicated to get at the number of differences in download it's expected over some time period to figure out the difference. But I'm sure somebody will do it. But you're right. Good question.
I guess I have a question.
Yes.
So how you're talking about the viewership of the NFL and trying to capture that younger audience, kind of like what changes do we expect to see as things start moving towards streaming services? Like we saw the Chiefs game was on Peacock exclusively. So capturing that younger audience, because those are the platforms that they are on.
Oh, look, this is the game. The long-term game here is having proprietary content that people want and having it gated and having people being willing to pay to get through the gate. So who's going to be willing to pay to get through the gate? People that have strongly inelastic demand. I mean, for something in particular. That's why a lot of services will lead out with a particular movie or TV show they say is coming on a certain date, and they'll broadcast everywhere, and you'll be like, I really want to see that. It's only $8 for me to get in. I'll try the trial version, and they hope you stick, right? So it's how sticky is your content. But it's really just, it's 100% entertainment. And no different than I got to go to the basketball game last night with Dan and Hugh here. And it was like, man, that was good entertainment. Or let me just tell you, it wasn't, I mean, and I'm not a K-State fan. I'm certainly not a Kansas fan. But I'm like, I wanted them to win. I wanted them to win. And I wanted with my whole heart for them to win, right? And because the game itself was fantastic entertainment. And so yes, you can be a purist. And yeah, I'm there for the basketball. And I appreciate what Dan and I were talking about, like, oh, that was a really bad move at this point. We should have called timeouts and things like that. So we're having a nice sidebar conversation, but it was just so compelling. And real good entertainment like that is hard to create over and over again. That's why Mr. Beast is successful. He has a formula, he creates it over and over again and he knows how to keep you hooked. And that's the NFL, right? Isn't that the NFL? Season after season, they come back and they tweak their formula for you to keep you hooked, right? And so Taylor Swift has tweaked the formula again, right, for her, because she got to re-release all of these songs, and that just created an explosion for her that really nobody would have expected. Yeah.
I guess have one more thing to add to this, how you're talking about a lot of the proprietary content with Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Obviously, we know she's making millions from the tour itself. And then we have the movie, and a lot of people think she's up for just like a cash grab because she's doing theater rental on streaming, and people hope to see it on streaming eventually. So kind of just that process from theater to streaming to rental to streaming. So
There is a process, and it's called capturing different segments of your audience, right? So the people that really want it the most right away will go to the theater experience first and pay top dollar for that. Then when it comes out on streaming, right, it's going to be marked. It'll be a high price when it comes out on streaming, right? And then over time, they just look at the metrics, right? As it falls off, you can do the elasticity, figure out what the elasticity is of demand, and well, we got to go down to the regular price because now it's just normal good. Right, but she's got a great product at this particular moment in time. I suspect her moment in time is now, and I suspect it's not going to be even. I'll say, well, look, here's a circumstance. They do get married, and it's like bigger than a prince and a princess in the UK getting married in this country, and they go through all that, and then they have babies. I mean, I could see this lasting for a while, but the peak Taylor Swift moment has to be this weekend. And then after that, it's a rerun of it, and people start to say, I've seen this script before. So unless they're going to do some really weird stuff to keep themselves, I don't want them to do that. I hope they actually succeed. I hope they succeed, right? From everything I've seen, I hope this is the moment where there is a true preference reversal for Taylor Swift. And all of those perfectly eligible guys that didn't quite muster up, that he's the one, and she's willing to go all in, right? That's the preference reversal on him. That would be an amazing story. That's why people are captivated. Anyone else? Yes. So the looking at the test scores and all the material, there's so many confounding variables at work with it's just me in this classroom and this class getting changed slowly, incrementally over time. It would be almost impossible for me to do that unless I had two sections. And I could take all the cool stuff out over here, and then I could do all the cool stuff over here. And then I could see if there's a difference. I'm not intellectually willing to do that just to find out, all right? Because students tell me that they enjoy the class. And I would hate to have this poor cohort over here that takes the class at 11 o'clock, hear that they did this thing over here from the 9:30 class, and then be like, what's going on? So yeah, maybe it might be very humbling. Maybe that's why I'm not willing to do it, but who knows? But yes, great question. I'm not the guy who knows, but somebody later will